Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of The Furniture with me, Daniel. It's Season 5, Episode 5, and we pick up where we left off today with two games at the start of the January transfer window, away to my beloved Luton Town and at home to Maidstone United, who have had a meteoric rise up the football pyramid, just like ourselves over the last 5 seasons. We're going to do something slightly different today. We'll have a little in-depth feature with both clubs before we play the matches, just to give you a bit more of an in-depth look at how we scout teams and their formations and tactics, and also so we can see the exceptional circumstances around the two teams. One of them just because of my personal interest, and one of them because of what they've done in this series. But first, there's one very quick thing we've got to look at, and that's our transfer news so far. We've already planned our 2 signings, but one of the things we have to look at is just how many players are being sought after. Particularly Owen, Jack and Alex Bass are getting so many offers. We are looking at selling Edabor, one of our backup centre-halves, as well as Jack Lee, who's our other backup one. Those two between them are going to bring in 175,000, so we've got no complaints about that. Janelle Bennett, we're teetering with the idea of loaning out, but it depends on us signing someone. We've got 2 replacements lined up. One of them's a very familiar name, Reece Williams, who we've tried to sign every window since he left. He'd be by far our best centre-half and a brilliant partner for Johnny Byrne. He's got that pace as well, which we love, and that set-piece danger with a 19 jumping reach. Hopefully he'll join us. We've discussed the contract, but there are some other teams in for him as well. Motherwell and St Mirren looking to make bids, so hopefully he'll choose to come back to England. Now we're at a good level of football. There's also Adam Lewis, a player we tried to loan from Liverpool, our parent club, last year. He was released in the summer and wouldn't sign a deal. He stayed on our scouting list, and now we've offered him a contract on £600 or £700 a week. There's a very good reason for this one. We've thought about the idea and mentioned our tactics in the last couple of episodes, having that 5-man defence with wing-backs. He'd be the perfect man for it, and as a result he'd be a good backup option to have. He can also cover central midfield and left-back, so plenty of options for him too. And maybe he'll have a good sell-on fee in the future, which is something you know that we run the club off. So we've done that a bit more quickly than usual, because before our first game with Luton today, we want to have a bit of a feature-length look at them. There's no fixture since the last episode. We pick up where we left off after the Villa defeat on penalties. So let's have a look at the lineup for our game, as well as a bit of an in-depth scouting look at Luton. So we normally come in and have a quick look at what formation they play. I guess it's a manual, quicker way of doing the tactical briefing that's built into FM. I prefer to just come and have a look at the squad myself. Obviously some of the players I'll be familiar with as a Luton fan, but some of them, particularly because we have the tactical attributes hidden so you can't see all the ranges or some of the attributes, it doesn't give us too much info. It's just about seeing the formation they play and the way they go about things. It used to be more important in League 2 when we were switching between the 2 formations regularly. It is starting to become a factor now, but normally we're going with that 4-5-1 no matter what, particularly away from home as we are today. We'll also check to see if there's any big names out injured, but it doesn't look to be the case, in case we need to target the right flank or the left flank for an example, which we occasionally do for odd games. But in this one, most of the familiar names are on the bench. In fact, the first 4 subs are all players at the club now. There's not too many in the first 11. In fact, I think Matty Pearson, who's at right back's the only one. So we haven't got much to worry about in that sense, and my knowledge is very limited. So let's get into the match. We've got a bit of a problem, of course. 3 days ago we played against Villa, and we got to 120 minutes and then a penalty shootout, with our first 11 playing. Luton are the favourites, I presume, as a result of that, and I haven't looked to see how fit some of these lads are. So let's see how bad the damage is as we look at the lineup for today's game. We're not going to play this formation, obviously. We'll switch back to our normal one. Oh, wow, look at those fitness ratings. No one's in good condition, apart from Nelson and Butcher. We're going to have to play almost an entire reserve team today. Let's go and do that, and we'll be back in a moment with the 11 we've selected. Okay, we've picked our lineup for today. We've got one new signing to introduce who we're throwing under the bus straight away. So we've got Bass in goal, Eamon McCabe and a new signing, Courts, are the fullbacks. If we have a look at him, we've highlighted right back as a weak area. Our scouts have not been able to find anyone who's better than Facey, who can help us step up to the next level. So we've decided to bring in a young lad and try and develop him to become better. So he's a good defensive player naturally. He's decent physically and mentally. It's just about developing developing some of the key stats a bit further. He's not quite a fully rounded player yet, but hopefully that'll come with time. He's got a fairly determined personality, so hopefully he'll develop well too. He's 2.5 star ability, 3.5 potential, although he's got the grade out stars to get to 4.5 if he reaches his peak. He's just 20 years old. We got him for 54,000 from Aberdeen. He'd been on loan at Airdrie in the second tier of Scottish football and doing well, so hopefully he'll become a good signing for us. He's very tired, but he's going to have to play today because Nico Williams is injured and unfortunately Shea Face is even more tired. So not the best start for him. We have rested our players in training, but it hasn't made much of an impact. We've got Edinburgh and Lee both playing their final game at centre half before they leave during the next week, and then hopefully we'll have Williams for the weekend. We've got Butcher dropping into the holding role, Ince again just recovering from injury, and McDonald very tired. Then Richards and McComb in central midfield, Bennett and Walker are on the wings, and Andrew Nelson's up front. Jack's on the bench again, so hopefully we can get a bit more fitness into him, and we've got the likes of Elliot Lee and James Devine if we need them. So let's get into this first one, and fingers crossed we can get a result. After I've sorted out the fact that there's not an under 18 on the bench, we haven't got any homegrown players in the first side. Hopefully that'll change as our youth intakes get better and as a few of the 18-year-olds we bought develop. So I think Owen Jack will fall into that category eventually. It's just whether we can keep hold of him. We'll take Greg Weir off the bench for the sub-keeper Emmett, and now let's get into the game against Luton. Okay, we've given Courts his squad number. Luton are playing an attacking formation. We're sticking to our balanced mentality, and I'm really not that optimistic going into this one, given the fact that we've got a second string out effectively. Ramsey plays the ball to Wallace and now Love. We need Alex Bass to have an absolute worldie in goal today, or we're going to really struggle not to get humiliated. I would have rested players for the Villa game had I known that the rules were changing for 1 year due to the Winter World Cup. Unfortunately, I didn't notice, and once we got the surprise of 120 minutes, we always knew this one was going to be difficult. Luton with the early ascendancy, could well have been a penalty that. We slid in dangerously but got away with it, and it's been cleared away for a throw. 5 minutes gone, and we're still goalless despite being outplayed so far. Luton have had 2 shots already and are coming forward again. 3/4 of the possession too. Ramsey's shot's blocked, but it's behind for a corner off McCabe, and we managed to survive again. The voice is starting to go already, so this feature-length episode might be a bit of a struggle, but we'll survive somehow as Davis has the ball 30 yards out. He gets it to the left-hand side for them. Crosses into the box, headed away. Bennett flicks it further, and the highlight ends as does the danger, but it's straight back with another Luton highlight, although we've regathered possession in our own half with Edinburgh. Long ball over the top, goes straight to Dan Potts, the left back, out to Harries, back to the keeper Cooper. They're starting again, but we're pressing him. He's forced it out to the left to Davis and now Potts. Over the top of the defence. McCabe heads it away, but only as far as Ramsey. Ramsey coming forward on the right to Robertson, into the back post. Davis with a shot. It's a great save by Bass. Nixon puts the rebound in, but he was offside, and we just about survive, but it is a very dangerous start for Luton. Luton have a throw. We were just changing some tactical instructions. We were getting warnings to close loads of people down. One of them wasn't Brandon Comley though, as he scores from 25 yards with a good finish. It's easy as you like, and Luton are going to win this game comfortably. Luton have got the ball in the middle with Davis. They're coming forward. He's not under any pressure again. Charges to the edge of the box and it's blocked. We're going to drop to cautious because we're not causing any trouble and we need to make sure we're defending well if we're not going to press the ball. A free kick over the bar from Walker, and with a quarter of the game gone, we're 1-0 down, unlucky just to be that far behind. Potts with a throw from the left. Inside to Comley again, 30 yards out. They've got so much time on the edge of the box. It's easy. Robertson scored again. And why are we not pressing despite the fact it's part of our tactical instructions? We've had to drop. Our midfield is still fully fit, so I'm not quite sure why they're not doing it. We're going to close down Potts as well, but it doesn't seem to be making any difference. Nearly at the break, it's 2-0 to Luton. It's half-time, a terrible performance. We can't blame Courts, the right-back, for being poor as he's absolutely knackered, but a lot of the midfielders haven't covered themselves in glory. I'm just seeing if there's anyone else I could bring on at right-back. I don't even think we've got the option, unless Janil Bennett could drop back there, just to have someone who's fully fit, but I'm not quite sure what the best option is. Can Jack Lee play out there? Of course he can't. Aaron Davis? No chance. So we're struggling a little, but we're just going to get into the second half and see if we can hold on. Nelson with a centre kick back to McComb. Now Edinburgh over the top towards Nelson. Love's going to get there, is he? He's not. Nelson does really well. Finds Walker on the left. There's 2 in the box, but he's too slow to deliver, and he's challenged behind for a throw-in. It's a throw on the right for Luton. Donald Love takes it to Comley, the first goal scorer. They're keeping the ball in the middle nice and easily as Robertson has another touch, the second goal scorer. Another shot from long range from Luton, but it's comfortably over the bar and Alex Bass can see those wide all day. Love with a throw in this time again. He's headed away as far as Comley. They're keeping the ball 25 yards out though. Look how poor the closing is. Nixon with a shot at Bass. And one thing we are going to change, Courts is just going to become a defensive fullback, as is McCabe. We just want to keep that shape. They haven't got the legs to get back, so we're just going to keep them in the defensive zones. It's a long goal kick from Bass, but it's straight at the fullback for Luton Potts. McCabe heads away as far as Robertson. A long ball which has worked out for them. It's constant pressure. Davis scores. It's 3-0. Courts has lost his man again, and I'm starting to worry about this signing already. I know he's not fully fit, but surely he can't be that bad, especially in terms of positioning. It's Lee with a free kick for us on the halfway line. Out to McCabe and now Walker. Walker into McComb. I've just pressed the tactics screen there for no reason. I thought it was going to be one that would just say make changes. Walker's in behind though. Delivers for Nelson. We've finally got a goal. It is 3-1. It will only be a consolation, but it's nice that we've scored at least. We've given the away fans something to cheer about and we'll make some tactical changes now. We're going to take Courts off for Lee and Janelle Bennett will have to go right back. His positioning isn't great, but at least he's fit. We're going to take Walker off as well and bring on Owen Jack. We're going to go all guns blazing up front. Nelson will switch out to the left or right. I'm not sure which one he's best at. Nelson's better on the right. He'll go in as a winger on attack. And then Elliot Lee on the left-hand side will go as an inside forward on attack. We'll leave the defenders where they are at the back and just let the front five really go at it. We've got a couple of midfielders doing terribly as well. Devine's one of the sub-options, so we might bring him on for Richards. Richards will be replaced by him, and fingers crossed we can get a result. Let's see where Devine's best, an advanced playmaker on attack. Let's just go all out with the front five, and fingers crossed they can do something special. Half an hour to go, we still trail 3-1 and look like conceding every time the ball comes forward. Robertson's got the ball on the right for Luton. He finds Davis. Davis takes on Janelle Bennett, the makeshift fullback, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. It's a corner for Luton, it's crossed the in-swinger. Lee heads away, but only as far as Davis on the edge. Blocked the first time and the second. Janelle Bennett made the block there. Good defending by him. We've changed both fullbacks to go into attacking duties, and we're just going to see the goal kick as the ball goes behind from the corner. We're going to switch to an attacking mentality and go all out to get something out of this game. If we lose by 5 or 6, then so be it. We can't do anything about having an unfit squad. The FA Cup ties really flummoxed us. We didn't know it was going to extra time, and you can see we're very much suffering for that today. Eden's got the ball in the middle for Luton to Ramsey. Ramsey coming forward over halfway to Love on the right. Love's trying to take on the fullback, but goes back to Robertson. Delivery's blocked by 2 men and finds Butcher. Butcher with a long ball down the left to Owen Jack. We've got support on the other side if we can find them. Devine puts it in for Elliot Lee against his former club, but it's blocked by the centre half and it's behind for a corner kick. Promising signs though, and it remains 3-1. Bennett with the in-swinging corner, up to the back post, but it's a terrible delivery and Cooper can gather it easily before Owen Jack gets anywhere near it. A long ball over the top from him. Bennett brings it down, but the highlight ends and we can't get away back into the game just yet. It's another throw for Luton on the left. What we didn't need doing a double header with features is a really long game with lots of highlights. That's what we're getting though as Love finds Comley. Out to the left to Dan Potts. Delivers to Nixon. Good header but it's just wide of the post. Try to glance it towards that far corner but not quite enough on the ball. Cooper with the ball away. The Luton keeper's given it straight to Elliot Lee. Finds Owen Jack. On the edge of the box. Goes for the shot. But a couple of deflections. And Harries clears it away for a throw. As Pelly Ruddock, another one of the Luton first teamers in real life, comes on for the final few moments. Although he's covering at right back. So it looks like both teams are struggling in that position. 2 minutes of stoppage time to go. We're not going to get a point now, but it's a good challenge there as Butcher brings the ball away. He's got time on the edge of his box. It's a terrible pass. Owen Jack makes something of it though. Finds Elliot Lee. Over to Nelson on the right. Nelson tries to charge into the box. His shot's deflected and it's gone all the way to Nixon who's in one-on-one for Luton. Bass tips it wide, but what a remarkable deflection that was. Surely it defies the laws of physics as the corner finds Comley. We're making tactical changes all the way to the end here and it's a silly silly foul given away, which means that Luton have a free kick. Hopefully they won't finish the game with another goal and we can survive at 3-1. It's a ball into the back post towards Nixon. McCabe heads it away as far as Pelly Ruddock. Edabor heads it further and we've won a free kick from a foul by Luke Berry. Just 30 seconds to go and 3-1 in the grand scheme of things isn't a terrible result based on the circumstance. The only problem now is that Matt Butcher's going to be knackered for the Maidstone game and we're going to struggle in a couple of areas there too. Jack with a free kick just wide. He'd won it himself and shot, and that was the final action of the match. A 3-1 defeat with almost a second string side out, and that basically proves that once we get past our first 11, we're not good enough to compete at the top end of League One. We'll tell the lads they did okay. I agree with our assistant here. They gave it everything. They're not happy about losing, which I guess is a good thing, but you can't expect much with a second string 11. We're still in the playoffs after that result, though there are a few teams playing different numbers of games as we go along. So we've got to worry about the Maidstone game at the weekend, back at home against another mid-table team, and we'll be back in a moment with our feature on that game. Right, we're back for the Maidstone game. There's lots of news off the pitch as well. Firstly, on the Wednesday, the day after the last match, we signed a new contract. We increased our wage to £2,500 and we've kept our promotion wage rise of 25%. It's a 2-year deal, so we've got another 2.5 years signed on at the club. It's absolutely brilliant for us and we can continue to work in a long-term view. Then news that the next couple of youngsters that might be leaving the club for big fees, McCabe and Richards, we're starting to get offers that amount to around £500,000 plus sell-on fees, and they're for two players who are backups at the moment. So if towards the end of the window they keep going and we get towards that £1 million mark, as we did with Carl Roberts, then we'll start to move them on. We're also starting to get big offers for Owen Jack across the board. But fortunately, we're not in a position where we have to accept those and we can just tell them to run away if they're not good enough. Unless we get to sort of 4, 5, 6 million, I'm not even going to consider them, as he's very much a championship striker, penalty taking aside. In terms of ins, we haven't had any updates yet. We've still got our 2 contracts out and we're just waiting to see if we can get them over the line. So plenty of money to spend, but we'd rather make sure that happens off the pitch in terms of facilities and stadiums. Don't forget, if we go to the Championship, we're going to need a new stadium too, as a 6,000 seater with a bit of terracing isn't going to cut it. Let's look at the lineup for today's game. A lot closer to full strength for this one, although there are a few missing. We're in inconsistent form, but we're the favourites at home to Maidstone, who are struggling in lower mid-table. Let's look at our lineup, and then we're going to have a quick review of Maidstone as well. So Nico Williams is still tired. Matt Butcher's not fit after playing the last game, as well as 120 minutes in the cup tie. McKendry's still injured as well. It means that we've got Bass in goal, Kenlock and Facey the fullbacks with Davis and Byrne in the middle, McDonald and Clark in the middle 3 as normal, but McComb's in place of Butcher, who's tired as we mentioned. Walker continues on the left, List on the right, and Owen Jack gets his first start after injury up front, Nelson dropping to the bench. We play against a Maidstone team today who play a narrow 4-3-3, which is part of the reason for their success. If we go and have a look at a couple of the players and the club in a bit more detail, they've got a Luton youth prospect, James Justin. He's one of the best young players in the EFL in real life at the moment. He's doing absolutely brilliant things for Luton at fullback. He's gone to Maidstone here. He's another one, unfortunately, like so many of the Luton youngsters, who are underrated on this game before they get through. The likes of Andre Gray in the past, who he signed from Hinckley at a really young age and then scored about 30 goals in the conference promotion season. At that stage on FM, he was only good enough to be loaned out at National League South and North clubs. So it shows they're a little bit behind with that. James Justin's a brilliant one, but he's there at Maidstone doing a good job here. They've got some really talented strikers at the club. John Marquis, we've mentioned before. He's a really solid target man and he scored 7 goals for them, about 1 in 3. Sedwin Scott, another one in that sort of target man mould. He's got a 12 for headed and he's very good physically. Across the board in terms of pace and strength. He's only got 1 goal but has scored 14 for the club in all. And then Jamal Loza, another one scoring at about 1 in 3. They've just got so many threats up there and are spreading their goals across the team. Their other sub-striker, Joe Quigley, another one was scoring at about 1 in 4 as well. Another target man. So they very much play a direct style of football. Up to their front 3, with 2 attacking fullbacks getting crosses in at every opportunity. If we go and look at the club in a bit more detail, in terms of their rise up the pyramid, one of the key factors has been Harry Wheeler, their manager. Obviously he went there in real life from Billericay around September, October time. As it is, he's actually been sacked by the club and gone back to Billericay now in real life. But here he's rated really highly and has done quite well. So his technical coaching attributes aren't great, but mentally he's really solid, disciplined, adaptable, and is a decent man manager with determination. So that's why he's done well there. In terms of their rise, you can see they've finished in a better position every season. The first year that we were in this save, 18-19, they finished 14th in the National League. The following year they won it. That was the year we went up in the playoffs. They stole the title after a collapsed late season by Forest Green. Their first season in League 2, a solid 11th place. And then last season, again they went up with us. We finished first as the title winners and they were closely behind us in second. So a really good side. Their key players, Michael Phillips, who we've got to watch out for today. A really solid centre-half who can't head the ball, but he's got plenty of pace, which is going to nullify our threat of Owen Jack in behind. So let's get into the match and see how this one pans out, as we seem to have really good close games across the board against Maidstone United. We mentioned the formation that we're worried about. We're going to tell the lads just to go out and play their own game, and fingers crossed that 4-3-3 won't cause us any more harm. It's Vincent Young on the left for Maidstone. Again, we've lost the first 10 seconds of the game there for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but the highlight ends and it's 0-0 with 5 minutes gone. Walker with an in-swinging corner, the first highlight of the match. Jack heads it down at the back post, but it's a poor header and it's wide of the post. It's a ball again on the right for List for us. We're coming forward. We've got the early ascendancy here. We've had the only shots of the game so far. McDonald out to Facey again, the right fullback. Inside to List. He's got two men running off him. Finds Jack Clark. Clark out to Facey. Delivers to Jack. Good header. Great run peeling off the centre half. But it's just over the bar and it remains goalless. It looks like Maidstone are having the same problems as us. Justin and a few other of their first 11 are dropped to the bench as Walker puts a ball into List, but it's straight at the keeper, and a few of the others in the starting lineup struggling with fatigue. It looks like we've just rested our players the opposite way round to most teams. Owen Jack with a free kick. Great effort on goal, which still saves. The boy can't take a penalty but can hit the target with a free kick. Absolutely baffles me. We've got a couple of warnings to man mark people, so we're going to do that, and hopefully we can get a breakthrough before half time. Maris with the in-swinger. We didn't mean Maidstone a breakthrough. Oh, the first goal of the game goes to them. They've had no shots on target until that point, but they're dangerous in the air with their 3 target men up there. We mentioned it pre-game, and it's been our undoing. List with the ball on the right to McDonald. He gets it over the top towards Jack. He's lost out in the air. He's clear to Loza, and they've always got a spare man up front because of that front 3. Our attacking fullback's getting caught out. Maris with a shot, and a fantastic save by Bass to tip it wide, and it's another corner kick for Maidstone. Maris with the delivery. In towards Finney at the back post this time. Walker knocks it down and Davis clears, and we survive at 1-0 as Maidstone start to dominate from set pieces. McDonald gets it out to the right to Facey. Facey inside to List. Goes for the shot, but it's blocked to Facey again. Another cross that's poor. He's headed away. Clark gets it to Kenlock. He finds McComb. Out to Facey on the right. Third time lucky perhaps. No chance. It's straight at the centre half again. McComb with a shot from the knockdown, but it's comfortably over the bar, and for all our dominance we haven't really looked like scoring. But McComb's stolen the ball 25 yards out from their throw. What a goal by the man. He nicked the ball from the throw in, charged into the box past 2 players, and then beat the keeper, squeezed it in his near post. A brilliant shot with plenty of power. We're on level terms on the stroke of half time, and we'll go into the break at 1-1. There is the whistle then. It's level at the break. We're going to tell the lads it was disappointing because it was. Conceding silly goals from set pieces has been a problem across the season. McDonald gets the ball from the kickoff out to Kenlock. He finds Walker. Inside to McComb, the goal scorer. Kenlock's on the overlap again. He's got to beat a man though. Can he do it? He tries to take him on, but then is forced back towards Davis. Over the top towards Jack. And the highlight ended just as it looked like he was going to be in. Loza's got the ball on the counter for Maidstone though. Finds Sedwin Scott. We're really being caught out our fullback. We might have to drop them back a bit. Vincent Young to Scott. Scott finds Maris. Maris into Muldoon. Muldoon 25 yards out with a shot, but it's comfortably wide, and it remains 1-1. We've got a free kick with Owen Jack. He's had a poor game so far, and it continues as he puts it wide. We'll make some subs. Jack can only do this long. He's been back from injury. We need to look after him. Nelson will come on up front. Jack Clark's had a terrible game in the box-to-box role. John Richards on for him. A player we've not used much this season, but he is a player with extremely high potential, and he keeps being chased by Premier League teams, so we need to try and give him games to get him to develop. The more he develops, the more he'll be worth in the future. 15 minutes to go, and we've got one trick up our sleeve for the last 10 or 15 minutes. Tom Walker will come off. He's absolutely knackered. We'll get Elliot Leon on the left and again switch to that inside forward on attack, and fingers crossed it can pay dividends as we try to nick a late winner. We've got a free kick in an attacking position with Kenlock. Quickly, one of the target men heads it away. It falls for Elliot Lee, whose shot's blocked and is cleared by Maidstone. Panic stations again in the Maidstone defence, but they manage to cling on as we move towards stoppage time. We're past the 3 minutes. It's a goal kick by Maidstone. The goalkeeper taking a free kick, sorry. You know that's the mistake I always make. The ball's knocked down and the whistle goes. It's a 1-1 draw. A disappointing 2 games for us, but we've mentioned these sides before. Maidstone have had a meteoric rise, so next year once we're both ready to push for promotion, I'm sure we'll go up together. McComb scored a brilliant goal and Richards came off the bench to make another appearance, so plenty of promising signs for the youngsters at the club, but unfortunately it's just a point as we start to show our lack of depth in the squad. We dropped to 6th place. It's not terrible really. The top 2 are running away with it, and then there's a big old pack there. Just 13 points separating 3rd place Lincoln and 19th place Doncaster. So if our winless run goes on for another 4 or 5 games, we could well be in the bottom half by the next episode. We'll have a quick look at the schedule to see when we might be back. If we get towards the end of the Checker Trade Trophy, we'll obviously show that. There's some big games coming up towards the end of this month and during February, so I won't promise a date will return, but we'll have a review of the January window where hopefully Reece Williams will have returned and we might be on our way to Wembley in the Checker Trade Trophy. But if you did enjoy this episode, please put a thumbs up on it. Again, a massive thank you for putting up with my continually croaky voice. Let me know in the comments where you think we need to strengthen. Aside from the back 4, where we've obviously signed 3 players if the other 2 go through. I'm trying to find wingers, but our scouts just can't find quality people. Obviously a reminder not to give me names. We don't use the player search screen, so we're not going to sign players unless they come up naturally. It's just trying to find wingers from scout reports that are going to be good enough for us in the future. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one part of the furniture, as well as the head coach where we're at Stevenage at the moment with Luke Berry, who featured in the first half of this episode. There's also weekly content from FIFA 19 and our FM19 Touch series with Newcastle. But a massive thanks for watching as always, and we'll see you next time.